What is going on, beautiful people of the world? My name is Garrett Wolf, and I am the host of the number one podcast for people who are trying to go from saggy flabs to six-pack abs. I've built my body over the last 8 years, and in the last 3 years, I've helped hundreds of online clients shred unwanted fat and embody the best version of themselves. Now, let's jump right into today's show.
What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the Alpha Movement Podcast. This is the number one show for people who are trying to go from saggy flabs to six-pack abs, all without giving up the most enjoyable aspects of their life. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about 3 for-sure ways to fail at a weight loss journey. All right, guys, if at any point during today's podcast episode you enjoy what I have to say or you take some value from this podcast, please screenshot my face, share it to your Instagram stories, tag me at _Garrett Wolf, and I will reshare it to my story and send you a free gift. Other than that, guys, if I sound kind of monotone today, I apologize. It's because yesterday night I had a terrible, terrible headache, and it's because we have a nice storm a-brewing outside, and so when I came home from the gym at around 6:30 p.m. ish, I went to the gym and I came home because I had a splitting migraine. I tried to get through my workout. I got through the back session, but I couldn't do the bicep session, and I literally came home at like 6:30 p.m. or 7 o'clock, I forget, and I threw up my pre-workout in the bathroom. It was absolutely terrible. Because of my splitting headache, it made me like nauseous and made me wheezy, and usually I can lift with a headache, but like this one was just pounding. Like it was not just a normal headache, it was a migraine, like splitting my head in two. It was pounding, it was terrible. And so I was getting super queasy at the gym. I had to come home. Like I said, I got through the back session, but I just could not do the biceps. Literally, I had like 2 exercises left, but I felt like I was about to puke on the workout floor, and I just did not want that to happen. So I rushed home, I puked in the toilet, and then I literally fell asleep because it was all I could do. I literally couldn't focus, I couldn't move, I couldn't do anything, and I just fell asleep from like 7 o'clock all the way until 9 p.m. So I slept for literally like 14 hours, and so I'm a little bit drowsy. I got my Monster Energy. I'm a little drowsy, a little bit out of it, and it's storming outside, so I can't even get my steps. So if I sound monotone, I apologize, but I still wanted to come on here, give you guys some value, give you guys 3 for sure ways that you can basically ensure failure when it comes to a weight loss journey. All right, guys, so we're just going to hop right into it today. Number one is trying to cut weight too quickly. That's the number one way to for sure fail at a fitness weight loss journey. All right, because a lot of people, they come to me and they're like, dude, I want to lose like 100 pounds in 3 months. And I'm like, whoa, 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 hold your horses there, Jonathan. If you think you can pack on 100 pounds of unwanted body fat, and that's going to take you like alone 5 to 10 years, right? It doesn't, you don't just pack on 100 pounds in a year or 2 years, and then you want to cut it off in 3 to 6 months. That is just not sustainable. It's not possible. There is a way to go about it, right? You see all these people who lose like 100 pounds in, excuse me, 3 6 months. You see all these people losing a ton of weight online. The problem with that is, one, it's not sustainable, and two, you're going to end up with loose skin. And one thing's for sure, if you want to go from like fat to fit, you don't want to have a bunch of loose skin, because the whole point of that is to improve your aesthetics, is to improve your look, the way you look, the way you look at yourself, and your confidence in yourself, the confidence within your body. And if you're going to have a bunch of loose skin, I don't really see the point in that. That's number one. And number two is you're going to regain the weight that you lost 6 to 12 months down the line, because it's not sustainable. And the reason it's not sustainable is because you're lowering your metabolism. I always talk about this sequence all the time. You lower your calories down to like 1800, because you got to go in an aggressive cut if you want to lose 100 pounds in 6 months. I mean, just think about that. You're going to have to lose 15 pounds a month, right? Something like that. And to do that, you're going to have to lose like 4 pounds a week, right? And to lose 4 pounds a week, you're going to have to be in a deficit of 12,000 calories. And so if you do the math out on that, it's just not going to be possible. You're going to have to be in a deficit of like 2 to 3,000 calories a day. And if you think about that, you're going to have to move like 15 to 20,000 steps a day. You're also going to have to be in a deficit of around 1,000 to 2,000 calories a day on your diet. You're going to be eating 1,500 to 1,200 calories a day. And sure, you can sustain that for 3, maybe 6 months if you're a psychopath. But after that, you're going to regain the weight that you lost 6 to 12 months down the line. That's why most dieters fail. That's honestly the number one. That's why I put it at the top of the list. The number one reason most people fail is this reason right here. They try to cut weight way too fast. Rather, the better approach to go about it is, I talk about it all the time. It used to be called the Phys Fit Freak approach. Now we call it the Alpha Movement Academy method. But the way it is you need to gain muscle first. Pack on some muscle, fix your metabolism. You're already overeating anyway. It'll be easy for you to get in the gym, pack on some muscle, pack on some size so that you can raise your metabolism. And not to mention, you can do this forever because there is no plateau in how much you can eat, unless you have troubles eating. But then you can introduce, calorie dense foods like, I don't want to make you go out there and buy some of these things, but you can introduce some things like ice cream. You can introduce these calorie dense foods, like whatever you want to eat basically, and you can just keep bulking and packing on size. And this is a for sure way to increase your metabolism forever, because muscle mass is a stubborn tissue. Your body doesn't want to eat away at your muscle mass. It would rather eat away at your fat. So you go about it in this manner. You can do a little bit of caloric repartitioning, not to mention you can lose some fat and gain some muscle at the same time. So that's the better way to go about it, rather than trying to lose, 100 pounds in 6 months. You should increase your time horizon, maybe bulk for a year or two, lose some of that fat along the way, and then you can go on like little mini aggressive cuts in the middle of those so that you can actually lose weight and gain muscle at the same time. And this approach is very sustainable. This is the approach I've been doing for the past 6 years of my life. I've been training for 8 years now, and if you guys know my story, I fell victim to this trying to lose weight too quickly thing. Back when I first started, I was doing HIIT workouts in my basement. I was eating 1100 calories a day, just putting my body through absolute hell. I completely lost my hunger signal. I got into a lot of like eating disorderly conduct, a lot of bad habits that did not serve me for the rest of my life. And I didn't get to take advantage. I didn't get to take full advantage of my newbie gains. That's one thing people forget about, is the newbie gains. When you first start hitting the gym, you can really pack on a lot of size and a lot of muscle in that time if you take advantage of it and actually bulk up and eat a gram of protein per pound of body weight. Make sure you're in a small calorie surplus and really focus on gaining strength within the gym, rather than trying to cut down 100 pounds in 6 months, which you can do. You're going to end up with loose skin. It's going to be unsustainable, and you're going to regain the weight that you lost 6 or 12 months down the line. So I want to ask you, do you want to have forever fat loss, or do you want to have quick fat loss? Because that's the thing. If you're someone who's just trying to get in shape for a wedding, or maybe one summer, or like an event that you have coming up, then you can go about it in this aggressive cut manner if you're not trying to sustain it. But I'm just letting you know right now that quick weight loss is not sustainable, and you would rather increase your metabolism first so that you can have this kind of lifelong increase boost in your metabolism, rather than cutting all this weight and then regaining it because the diet plan is not sustainable. So that's the number one way to ensure failure when it comes to a weight loss journey, is to just go about it too fast, to have these unrealistic expectations. And that leads me into the number two reason, or the number two for sure way to fail at a weight loss journey. And that's going to be trying to look like your favorite influencer. All right, guys, I fell victim to this so bad, especially a lot of young kids. Like when I first started, I was 14 years old. A lot of these kids on TikTok who are 12 to 15 years old, a lot of these kids who are in high school, maybe 15 to 19 years old, they always comment and they always come to me and they message me and they're like, I'm trying to look like this guy, or I'm trying to look like you. They say they're trying to look like me, or humbly, of course. That does happen sometimes. Maybe it's a surprise to you, but some people come to me, they're like, I want to look like David Lade, right? I was trying to look like David Lade. I want to look like Alex Eubank. I want to look like all these people, Lex Little. I want to look like, Steve Cook, or I want to look like, Zac Efron, these movie stars, these people that you see on your TV screens. And here's the thing, guys. One thing that, because I used to struggle with this all the time, and one thing that I finally learned during this competition prep, actually being 3 weeks out, being like the most shredded, the most peeled I've ever been in my life, is you will never look like your favorite influencer. I'm sorry. You will never, ever, ever look like them. You can only look like a better you, right? Because we have genetics. We have genetic makeup. We have genetic codes. Some people have a better chest. For example, Alex Eubank, he has a phenomenal chest because of his chest genetics. I could sit here and I could do chest flies all day long. I could do push-ups all day long. I could get my bench press up to 405 all day long, and my chest will still never look like Alex Eubank. I could sit here and do crunches in my room all day long, 24/7. I could go to the gym and just train abs 7 days a week, get my recovery dialed and everything, but my abs will never look like David Lade. He's got a tiny waist. He's got broad shoulders. He's got phenomenal aesthetic genetics. And me personally, I just don't look like that. My genetic makeup is completely different. I don't look like them. I'm not as tall as them. I'm not, I don't have the chest genetics like Alex Eubank. I don't have the waist genetics like David Lade. And so no matter how hard I train, no matter how many crunches, sit-ups, no matter how long I'm in a caloric deficit, I will never look like my favorite influencers. I can only look like a bigger and better me. And that's something you guys should accept early on in your fitness journey so that you're not hit with this disappointment wave of grueling workouts, dieting down for months on end, and you're still just like, why don't I look like David Lade? Like, it's not working. And it's because he's a different human being. He's not the same person as you. He has different genetics. He has a different genetic makeup. He has different proportions. He has different sizes. He has different muscle insertions. He has different genetic makeup. The code that makes up his body is completely different from you and from I. So it's better to set realistic expectations. You can only look like a better you. So I suggest to you, maybe you should look at some child pictures of yourself, when you're like 10 to 16 years old. Look at some pictures of yourself and figure out what characteristics you have. For me, for example, I've always had a pretty good back genetics. Posing for my posing routine that's coming up for Men's Physique, my coach, he always says, he's like, you have a pretty good back. Like, I have a pretty lean back, and I carry most of my fat in my lower pelvis area. You can tell this from your childhood pictures again. I have decently broad shoulders. You can tell this by looking back at before I even started working out with a fitness journey at all. My shoulders had decent musculature to them. They had decent size, and that's why I have, nice rounded, broader shoulders than a lot of people. Maybe your strength is your biceps. Maybe your strength are your triceps. That's another thing for me. My triceps are decently big. When I do a tricep pose, I have decently big triceps. It makes my arms look bigger. But one thing I don't have is like very insane bicep genetics. No matter how hard I hit my biceps, they're always, 15 to 15 and a half inches in circumference. And that's how they've been for the past 6 years. And it doesn't matter if I sit here and do bicep curls all day long, I will never have 24-inch arms like Arnold Schwarzenegger or 20-inch arms like these bodybuilders that step on stage, because it's just out of the cards. Some things are simply out of the cards. I will never look like David Lade. I'll never look like Lex Little. I'll never look like Alex Eubank. I can only look like a better me, and you can only look like a better you. And that's what you should want, because at the end of the day, you should have self-love. You should love the person that you are inside and out, and that's what's going to lead to better confidence. That's what's going to lead to realistic expectations, and that's how you're going to ensure success on a weight loss journey. And how you can ensure failure on a weight loss journey is trying to look like somebody that you simply are not. All right, guys, and that brings me to the third for sure way that you will fail at a weight loss journey, and that is wasting hours of your day running on a treadmill. Let me tell you guys something that I used to do. I literally used to think that if I ran a mile a day in the morning, that it would increase my muscle mass and it would increase my gains that I would be able to make in the gym. And this could not be further from the truth. I would literally wake up every morning and go for a run, because I was like, if I run a mile, it'll increase my stamina, it'll increase my health, it'll increase my fitness, and it'll give me more gains in the gym. It sounds all fun and dandy, right? But here's the problem: is when you're running for hours on the treadmill, you're literally telling your body that it needs more energy to sustain these runs, because your body will adapt to any given stimulus that it's put under, right? So if I'm telling my body every morning, like, yo, we need to run a mile every single morning, it's going to get efficient at running the mile. It's going to get more efficient at calorically repartitioning my calories so that I can run a mile more sustainably. So it's going to pare down your muscle. It's going to pare down your fat. It's going to take energy from everywhere so that you can sustain these mile runs every single day. And I see so many people at the gym doing hours of grueling bike work, doing hours of grueling elliptical, like they're on the elliptical literally dripping sweat, and they're still fat, they're still obese, and they're not losing. I've literally gone to the same gym for the past 6 years, and I see people who look exactly the same as they did 6 years ago, and they're still on the same treadmill, doing the same mile run, doing the same things they did 6 years ago, and they will never lose weight with this approach. It is not a good thing to try to run for hours a day on the treadmill to try to lose weight, because of this energy system pathway that I just explained. The better way to go about it is to simply increase your steps throughout the day, because that is low intensity steady state cardio. You can do this with a million different ways, right? You can do circuit training, that is low intensity. You don't want to do high intensity because you can do high intensity interval training, but again, this is something that is incredibly stressful on your body and not sustainable in the long term. You know what is sustainable? Going for walks, literally just walking on the treadmill, increasing your steps while slowly decreasing your calories. That is a for sure way to ensure weight loss, rather than going for these grueling cardio runs that tax your body, that put a bunch of stress on your joints, that put a bunch of stress on your energy system pathways, and make you pull energy from not only your fat cells but also your muscle, from every single energy system in your body, because running is one of the most intensive forms of cardio that you can do. And if you're trying to get better at running, that's one thing. If you love running, that's another thing. If you love the runner's high that you get, then yeah, you can go for runs. Runs are fine, but you just have to understand that it's not going to aid you in your muscle building process. It's not going to aid you in your fat loss journey process. If you love running though, or if you're trying to be a marathon runner, that's a different story. Then you can go ahead and go for your runs. You can get better at doing your runs, and you can still build a great physique. I'm not saying you can't. It's just that it's not going to help you. If your main goal is weight loss, running for hours a day on the treadmill is not going to help you. And that's the thing. I used to think that it would help you because it would increase your stamina, it would increase your fitness, it would increase your endurance, but that is not the case. It may increase your endurance when you're going for runs, but it will not aid you in any way in a muscle building process or in a fat loss journey. So the only reason you should be going for runs is if you're absolutely in love with running itself, or you're trying to be a marathon runner, or you're loving the runner's high. But me personally, I fucking hate runs. I cannot stand them. So at the end of the day, for me, for a fat loss journey, I'm just going to go ahead and go for walks and slowly decrease my calories, as well as building a nice base foundation of muscle mass so that my metabolism is increased, and then throw in little mini cuts in that bulking process so that I can stay lean, so that I can keep increasing my muscle mass, so that I can keep eating as much food as I want. And that way I can sustain it for the rest of my life. All right, guys, that brings us to the end of today's podcast. Those are 3 ways to ensure failure at a weight loss journey. Number 1 is just trying to cut weight too quickly. Number 2 is trying to look like your favorite influencer because you cannot. And number 3 is thinking that hours on the treadmill or long forms of cardio will aid you in your fat loss journey, because they simply will not. All right, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed today's podcast. I hope you got some value. If you did get value, please screenshot my face, share it to your Instagram stories, tag me at _Garrett Wolf, and I will reshare it to my story and send you a free gift. Other than that, guys, I hope you all have a fantastic day. It has been your boy Garrett Wolf, and I will see you all in the next podcast episode. Peace, guys.
Thank you so much for tuning in today. Hopefully you got some value. If you did get value and you want to learn a little bit more about how you can go from saggy flabs to 6-pack abs, just head over to my Instagram at _Garrett Wolf. DM me the word 6-pack and I'll reach out to you and see if I can help. Again, thank you guys so much for tuning in today, and I will see you all in the next podcast episode. Peace.